Let's make it count.
I must practice tolerance.
GSL 시즌 1 리제너레이션 마운틴듀 GSL 시즌 1 리제너레이션
What is up? Welcome back to the GSL Code S. We're doing Group B. This is the last group. Normally, Group D would be the last group, as I'm sure we're all good enough at the alphabet to know that. But we had to move them around because of other tournaments going on. But yeah, after today, the end of the round of 16.
You know, as far as I know, the English alphabet, its order is quite arbitrary, right? Can you think of a reason why it goes in the order it does? Like, I understand Z at the end. Okay, that makes sense.
I got to turn my headset up just a little bit here.
Okay,
does, yeah.
Z at the end makes sense because Y and Z, right? That's part of the song.
Yeah, people forget that and is the second to last letter in the alphabet.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, it's arbitrary anyways. We did them out of order, and that's fine. Look at our round of 8 right now. It's not exactly expected, right? Trap and Bunny, kind of two surprising players to see here. Other than that, though, TY, Maru, I mean, of course. Rogue Classic, of course. It's...
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't. What did you say? Sorry.
I don't know what I was saying.
There was some feedback in my ear. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go
okay.
ahead.
Anyways, let's go to our video.
Yes, let's go check that out.
선택하실 예정이세요? 고민해 보셨습니까?
여태 10번 연속으로 올라온 걸로 알고 있는데 단 한 번도 제 마음에 드는 조가 된 적이 없어가지고 그래서 오늘은 좀 저랑 조를 같이 만들어갈 사람을 구하고 싶어요. 종종은 상관없고 일단 그냥 저랑 조를 좀 꾸려가실 그런 분들 없나?
그럼 한번 손 한번 들어보죠.
말이 통할.
예, 정말 좋은 조 만들어. 이재선이에요. 이번에도 이재선.
영우 그 방송할 때 그거를 되게 자주 챙겨보고 그래서 그냥 같이 올라가는 방향으로 저도 이렇게 좀 같이 잘 꾸며가고 싶은데 그래도 절 뽑아줬으면 좋겠네요.
그럼 박영우 선수 뽑아준다면 박영우 선수가 자 누구누구로 세팅을 하면 그대로 따라갈 의향은 좀 있으신 거예요?
그래도 같이 좀 얘기를 하면서 뽑을 것 같아요.
저도 팀킬만 안 붙여준다면은 좀 얘기를 잘 맞춰서 할 생각이 있습니다. 팀킬만 안 해주시면 원하는 대로 다 해드릴게요.
와, 이재선 선수와 다른 자세입니다.
네, 그냥 저는 영우가 뽑으라는 사람 뽑을게요.
일단은 진짜 뭐 테란 공족전도 상관없는 건가?
그럼 뭐 상관없죠.
와, 박영우 웃어요. 가나요? 오늘 이재선 진짜 대박인데요. 자, 드디어 들어왔습니다. 이 박영우 조에 들어오는데 그 계획대로 되고 있나요, 모든 게?
영우한테 미안하지만 전 이미 생각하고 있는 거라서 미안하게 됐네요.
와, 진짜 대박.
박영우 고로. 그래도 말은 이렇게 해도 사람인 이상 그래도 좀 어느 정도는 들어줄 거라고 생각해요.
여러분들
이게 미련이고 이게 현실 부정입니다.
저 박영우 선수 아직도 사람 믿어요? 그 박영우와 다른 길을 가겠다. 이재선 선수 마음에 드는 선수 뽑겠다는 이야기 남겼거든요. 이재선 선수.
생각은 아까 영우가 뭔 말을 한들 제 갈 길을 가자였는데 영우랑 이렇게 대화를 하면서 이 친구랑 되게 대화가 잘 통하더라고요. 그래서 좋게 가는 방향으로 정했습니다.
그 짧은 시간에 그렇게 급진해졌구나.
확실히 김도욱 선수를 이게
네, 그래서 김도욱 선수까지는 가면서 우선 서로 가지 안 친했던 세 명이 이제 붙어 앉아서 이 친분을 유지하고 있는 상황이에요.
여태 그냥 조지명식 중에 그 조지명식을 좀 안 좋게 된 그 결과물들이 오늘 이렇게 좋은 일을 만들어주기 위해서 그런 일들이 있었던 것 같아요.
지금 이게 같은 팀원을 좀 빼고 이제 남은 이렇게 되면은 백동주 선수 굉장히 무쾌하네요. 마이크 잡아주시죠.
조가 힘들긴 한데 그래도 어느 조나 다 힘든 것 같아서
그룹 D까지 지금 마무리가 좀 되어 있는 상황입니다. 아직 완성이 안 된 거예요. 이 모든 권한이 조성주 선수에게 있습니다.
일단 준호 형이랑 재선이 형을 바꿀까 생각 중인데
네. 자 이제서 이거 어떤 좋은 딜인가요?
내가 이거 조금씩 보면서
그렸어요?
이 패턴을 생각을 했는데
아!
성주가 절 뽑으면은 그렇지 않을까.
잠깐만요. 마이크 뺏었어요?
성주가 좀 어리다 보니까 장난기가 좀 많은 것 같아요.
오.
네, 이대로 거의 갈 것 같은데 그 뜻을 좀 굽혔으면 좋겠네요.
모든 것은
Alright, it's faker.
우승자는 이재성.
What you want for the world? Money
저 어제 꿈을 꿨는데 생각을 하면서 왠지 제 옆에는 지연이가 앉아 있고 그 옆에는 준혁이가 있고 옆에는 성주가 있을 것 같았는데 그게 다 예지몽이었네요.
와, 꿈을 이뤘습니다.
I like that video.
Yes,
That was
quality
cute.
right there. An exciting group, to be honest. We have all 4 races here, or all 3 races. Maru's not in this group. But yeah, we've got all 3 races, so that's going to be extra fun. One of our only Zergs remaining, only Rogue has made it in the round of 8, so we're really counting on Dark to make it through this group. But it's a very, very tough group, okay? I think that Deer is in such form that if he wins this season, no one should be surprised. I think he's easily one of the very best players in the world right now. And then, of course, herO and herO are always dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, they can take on anybody. I think herO was really dominating about 2 years ago,
Yes.
and he's taken a little bit of a back seat. So I'm excited to see how he's going to perform here today, and if he can kind of build that momentum here in 2019.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I think in 2017, he was probably the best Protoss in the world and probably second best player overall to Rogue that year, right?
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
was just monsters. It was like him, Rogue, and Innovation, I think, if I recall correctly, his first Terran, that were dominant, just crazy good. But last year he wasn't as good, and this year so far he hasn't super impressed. He's kind of playing aggressive plays, cheesy plays overall, and I mean, that's fine. That's a way that he plays a lot, but I don't feel like he doesn't look like someone who's going to win a tournament or even get a top 4 to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Going into this, let's see if herO this time around can leverage the same kind of play style he's used before. He's had, I would say, the best timing attacks out of all StarCraft 2 Protosses.
He definitely has some of those.
He's
like,
and he's relied so heavily on that. He tends to not play macro games.
yeah.
And that's not to say that he can't macro, but he does like to try to do some kind of crippling play early on,
Yeah.
and then come in with a closer. But I don't know if it's going to still be viable. It seems like a lot of players have adjusted. I think part of the problem for players like herO was the fact that all these new proxies came into play, kind of changing a lot of the ways the Protoss had to deal with Terrans.
Okay.
But let's see how he does here against Zerg. I think there's still a lot of timings you could try to come in with in a PvZ 2019 StarCraft 2.
Well, he certainly showed us a lot of those against Scarlet, if I'm remembering correctly, from the round of 32. So he's got some crazy builds out there. That's the type of player he is. See if he can take out Dark.
By the way, get your votes ready. We forgot to do that.
Oops.
게임이 시작됩니다. 포트 알렉산더 게임 준비 완료. 고스 크루 다크. 트라이엄펀트 송 게이밍 히어로.
All right. I mean, I'm really hoping that herO can show us some really top tier play. For me, I look at this match right now and I think, I would be actually surprised if Dark doesn't win.
Yeah, I think Dark is supposed to win this, right? At least based off all the recent things that have happened here. and recent results in the way that Dark's looking play style. By the way, spotting that drone that looped by
Yeah,
here.
that was kind of interesting. He left it there seemingly to make him not see that. But,
yeah.
Looks like he just wants to go ahead and do the offensive hatchery.
By the way, I think this is a smart way in general to play against a herO here, is that you start to take control of the build order of the game, and you're forcing him to do a little bit more reacting, because I think a lot of times if he's left alone, that's when herO's the scariest, because herO is so good at planning.
Yeah, that's actually, it's a good way to say it, because he is someone who likes to play a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more cheesy.
Oh.
And if you can take away some of those options, that is obviously going to be very helpful. Oh, that's a cool sign.
That's a
I
cool
like that.
sign,
He didn't
yeah.
cut little things with his fingers to hold it.
Yeah.
But look, the thing is, herO also is a player similar to SOS in some ways. He's very creative, so I don't think that it throws him all the way off. Taking a look at what he's doing in response, going into 2 gates immediately, I kind of like it, right? Because you're slowing down your own speed upgrade. If he gets a couple of depths out or something, he can definitely do some harassment against Dark to almost punish him for this offensive hatchery.
Yeah, I think it's very smart. By the way, just because we don't see the strategy all the time, I was a hatchery, and when the probe's forced to cancel, he makes an Evo chamber because of the remainder of creep that's there. Then he runs down and does a gas steal.
Yeah.
So you're still limiting and controlling the options, but I think herO's really intelligently not letting this slow him down.
Yeah.
And because of that, he's taking the game in a completely different direction.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing where you take that gas, especially I think as the follow-up, because a lot of times Protoss might even think about taking that gas right away when this happens, because their Nexus will be delayed so much and they get some extra money. But when you don't have 2 gases, it cuts out so many options. If you want Stargate, you can't really do it. It's so late. I guess you could go Robo or Twilight eventually, but your economy is not balanced correctly. You can't survive on just 1 gas. You can't really do anything as Protoss on 1 gas.
Yeah, I mean, you're not able to develop gas, especially in this matchup. It actually always has been the case for Protoss versus Zerg, even at StarCraft 1. You need to have a lot of gas to get teched up properly. And so it's a really intelligent way to try to limit and control this game.
So he goes for a Forge, which I think is cool as well, because that's something that, again, is gas low. Just for the measly 100 gas, you can get your upgrades going, and that'll parlay you into a better late game, or even mid-game timings, right?
Right.
So that's cool. I like that. It's a good idea. He takes a gas at his natural as well.
What do you think is the logical direction herO needs to steer this game now? Now that basically all the limitations have been mopped up and cleaned up.
Well, I think that there's 2 different things at play here. First off, he didn't start his +1, which is kind of interesting. But, well, he's going into 4 gates in a robo, so I guess we see what he's doing. But I think that, like, theoretically speaking about this, you either need to get across the map and put some pressure on to figure out what's going on, or, well, I guess that's pretty much what you have to do, other than maybe sending over a hallucination, right? Because part of the reason why you see Stargate almost every game that's not an early attack is because it does your scouting for you. You have to know, are they going roaches? Are they rushing into lair? Are they going to go, for a Nidus? All these things are really important to figure out.
Yeah, it is a good point. I mean, you really do need to kind of keep your eye on them and try to read and react to what they're doing, so you could try to outmaneuver them tech-wise or strategy-wise. And so we got that War Prism coming up here as the rest of these gateways are going to finish up. On the Zerg side of the map, there's a Roach Warren finishing, but also, more importantly, Dark is going to get this drop going over here, and this seems to be very well timed out here by Dark. I think this is all stemming from that initial hatchery blocking the Nexus. He knows that this is around when Protoss will probably do a counterattack, so why not send some Lings in here?
Yeah, it's really cool, actually. I like that quite a bit. It's a slow drop and everything, so it's very hard to even predict that coming. So he is going to get those Zerglings off, but this attack coming in is dangerous. He spent a ton of gas early on these sentries, skipping that +1 attack upgrade.
Yeah, and he's actually taken out now 2 of these Queens. And with really good force fields and the fact that these Lings are already counterattacking, that makes it quite difficult for you to actually control anything, even though that is true. 21 probes have been killed as well.
Oh yeah, that is such a big story here. Look at this. The drone count hasn't actually been injured as far as herO's attack goes. And his army is not a long-lasting army. He's already used up a lot of his force fields. His economy is completely destroyed, though. He needs to do so much more damage than he has already.
Yeah. Okay.
It seems like that drop alone won the game. Yeah.
GG.
Well, I mean, there you have it. GG.
Yep.
Like, that slow Overlord drop after all those weird little things that happened early on in the game, like, what a beautiful move from Dark. What a beautiful move.
Yeah. No, it was really masterfully done. And frankly, you know, for any pro, not just for herO, that is not the way you want to lose a game. That's not a loss that
In fact, the fact that he lost
really,
70 probes, I think Dark waited until an engagement occurred.
I think you're
so
100%
that his attention
right.
was pulled.
Yes.
Because there was no pylon on the edge of the base, which obviously is a small mistake from herO regardless. But when you're doing that quick of an attack, you're not as worried about like stopping a Nidus or something. You're like, okay, I'm just going, right? So, anyways, masterfully done by Dark. A beautiful win.
Hope that herO's going to be okay going into game number 2. That is basically the worst way you could start out a Code S round of 16.
Yeah.
Is to lose in a fashion like that, because basically Dark looked like he was in control the entire time. Well, it wasn't like he didn't just look like he was in control. He was in control the entire time and smashed herO. Game 2 on year 0, Dark versus herO. It rhymes. I didn't mean to do that.
게임이 시작됩니다. 이어 제로. 게임 준비 완료. Ghost Crew, Dark.
That's his jacket. Why is there like raccoon fur behind it?
Triumphant Gaming, herO.
Why would you not have that looking like that? Because right now it looks like Dark is a Lord of the North in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he looks like he's from Winterfell. I wish we'd gotten another.
He
we
looks
might get another
fantastic.
shot of this later.
I'll take a picture right now, Tasteless, because we got them up on the big screen.
Yeah, you can tweet it
You're
out
in
if you
the-
wanted.
If they're in the studio, you get to watch the players the entire time. It's really cool. Yeah,
But what
you
is
guys
it? Is
at
that the
home?
hood of his
Of course.
jacket? What is that?
Yeah, man, it's just one of those furred hoods.
What if there's just a dead raccoon he props his head on?
He's going to have another in a minute here
Yeah.
when he destroys herO again. Okay, I want to mention again about that game, because the more I think about it, what a beautiful, beautiful display there. Because you said Dark kind of controlled the game from start to finish. He did the offensive hatchery into the Evo chamber.
Kappa Pride.
All right. Right, and into the offensive gas. This limits the options immensely, right? And then into the slow drop. Here's the funny thing. I think that herO reacted very well, and if that slow drop had not come, herO would have been in a slight lead after his push, right?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't do a ton of damage with it, but he got 3 queens, he got 2 drones. That's reasonable.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? He's forcing the roaches out and everything. But Dark, a step ahead is what that was, right? He was strategically 1 step up and just instantly got a victory because of that in a situation in which herO probably would have been ahead against most Zergs in the world, and they probably would have been upset about it. Like, damn, he can just do anything. Like,
Yeah. Well,
but,
also,
yeah,
you know, especially with GSL, I think more so than any other tournament, is these guys have a lot of time to prepare.
Mhm.
You know, you get something like an IEM, right? Totally different beast of a tournament. You're doing tons of games in a day. It's all squished together, and you find out who really has that stamina to come out and survive. But in GSL, this tournament takes months to complete. So you know your opponent's way ahead of time. You know roughly what the maps are going to be, and you know what some of the possible matchups could be. So the players put in a lot of prep work. So in some ways, it's even more genius for Dark to do a build like that in Game 1.
Oh, yes.
Because whatever herO practice does, he doesn't get to do now.
I would agree with you completely on this. Like, I think it's such a smart thing to bring in builds that take away whatever plans your opponent had and just makes it into your plan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
you know, it's like some of these times we've seen SOS just cannon rush,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, this is now
Totally.
making this player. This guy might have practiced, you know, hundreds of games,
Yeah.
mapping out this late game tech, and then I'm going to take my 4th at this time. And,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'll have my War Prism ready over here, and if we see this, I'll do that, and then it's a cannon rush, and you're not doing anything that you had planned for.
It's hard to play against such a thing, and Yeah, I mean, the beauty of StarCraft already on showcase here today in GSL Code S.
herO 2 gas is taken at his natural, but no probes mining yet.
Yeah, he's actually getting a very quick +1. He's got that robo as well. Very much enjoying these types of builds coming up. What is that drone doing?
Yeah.
That is straight up a misclick. Drones don't rally on the same key as Zerglings. Well, Hydralisk Den
one of those moments where, like, he has to make it look like he meant to do that by building a hatchery outside of the base.
God, that's really the only thing he could do, too.
Yeah, better for him
he steals
to
a gas
do.
at the third.
Yeah, better for him to do is to make us all think he's doing something crazy that's going to change the meta than to expose that he accidentally had a drone travel all the way across the map before he realized it.
So true. By the way, I want to point out that I like what Dark is doing here again. You know, obviously, herO going for this quick +1. He's getting into his Immortals. He has a Prism out, right? Going into Twilight. This is all pretty normal stuff. But, you know, the meta game has been very Roach heavy in the early portions of it for quite some time now, muchly due to Archon drops. But in this situation, right, Dark kind of figures out what's going on. He sees the quick Robo. And kind of realizes, okay, this isn't just a fast Archon drop or something, goes directly into Hydras, which is going to be a much better unit comp to go against any sort of Robo-based push like this, or Immortal-based.
Oh! Warp Prism just barely gets out, about 50% hit points there. Dark's now getting a lot more Hydras that are going to come out here. Well, it looks like at least this time around, herO is going to get to do what he wants to do. Or at least what he planned.
Yeah, he definitely is. Like, both of them are kind of doing what they want. Definitely herO straight up doing what he wants, whereas Dark is playing a little bit reactive here, right? You won't just go straight into Hydras at this level unless you realize that you can. So already has those Hydras out. Of course, Templar Archives coming up for herO, as well as that +2 attack. And a lot of gates going to be finishing up. So we might see a very sharp attack coming up soon.
Yeah, it looks like it, especially with those gateways finishing. Now, herO is going to get that third base up, and as that gateway explosion comes up, we're going to have a lot more muscle here for the Protoss, especially with the Templar Archives finishing. Over on Dark side of the map, it's going to be the Baneling's Nest, although it looks like it's a little ways out. Although, is herO really going to actually attack her? Or is this more of a pressure build? You don't normally see like a third Nexus making and the Protoss is attacking at the same time, right?
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like kind of a fallback Nexus. I think it's more pressure, but it has potential kill. The thing is, if you mess this attack up against Slingbane Hydra, you don't have much room to come back. Whereas if you're playing against like Roaches with this type of comp, and it doesn't do a lot, and you lose like half your army, I feel like there's much more comeback potential, right? Like Roaches can be out-microed, you have units that really wreck them.
Okay.
Whereas in this situation, it's like, okay, herO, if you actually commit here and lose a bunch of your units, you better have killed like everything he has. And you see he turns around here. I think that is a very astute move from herO.
Yeah, and it seems like instead he's going to decide to just fall back and defend here, realizing, okay, the Zerg definitely has too much. And in some ways, when you get that far out, you're forcing them to make a lot of attacking units and get ready to defend, and then you can always fall back to your third base. This means the next play for Zerg, unless Zerg is going to try to end this right away, is to take a fourth here.
Yeah.
And we do have 10 Banelings making, and it's a little bit late. A lot of times if you see a ton of Banelings being made, it means they're going to attack, but with drones also being made, it seems like those Banelings are just a precaution.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a little set of Banelings, because you never know when they're going to do something crazy and just move in.
If we see another big explosion of Banelings, actually the way I said that is misleading. If we see a lot more Banelings being made, is what I meant to say.
A plume of Banelings.
A plume of Banelings being made, then we can probably surmise that the Zerg is going to attack then. But for now, it seems like they're both backing up and going into, frankly, just a really passive game. This game is really the polar opposite of the game that we had in game number 1.
Well, this is really kind of a super standard mid-game and then going to be late game coming up here. Neither of them really have a way to hit each other at the moment. Look at that, how many drones Dark is going up to right now. That's awesome, going up to 80 drones.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's getting into his own Psy Storm. He has his very secure 3 bases. Dark is taking his 4th. Obviously, we see that the upgrades for herO are vastly superior, so that is a big deal. But Banelings can fudge that type of math, right?
Yeah,
Splash
absolutely.
damage is a great way to get around upgrade disadvantages.
Okay, so these Banes are going to come up here now. Kind of a funny angle. I don't really know what the story was of the Banelings coming at that angle at all. I think that might have been a misclick.
Well, I think he was trying to go around the cannon and hit the mineral line, but you know, an Archon's there, so it's like,
Yeah,
well, that didn't work.
not so
but
much.
If that works, suddenly you've killed 12 probes and you're pretty happy about it.
Okay, we've got the army now moving out here. It looks like he wants to try to poke out the 4th base. Now, this creep spread, by the way, has been oddly limited in this game, considering the hero hasn't had that much map presence.
Yeah, he only
So
had the
there's-
one big move out, really.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of places that are safe for Zerg to attack. I hadn't really noticed the creep spread was so pushed
Yeah, it's a
back,
little bit back.
until we got a little bit later on here.
Definitely right about that. I think the queen count isn't all that high. He rushed up into his Hydras rather quickly, got his Baneling speed rather quickly and all this, so. And there was good pressure from hero early on, at least. Now, I don't know, like, he has good force fields, right? He has a lot, but... Oh yeah, utilizing that terrain beautifully as well. Gonna easily pick off this hatchery.
And he should have enough force fields to close this off again when he leaves.
Yep. Just so well done. Look at that. He
Even
lost
the Archon
almost
lives.
0.
Yeah.
Almost 0 loss there. And oh, the flame though. Hold on, hold on.
Oh, the storms are really good.
Yeah, they are good. They are really good. My God, and the Archon eats the vast majority of the Baneling splash there. Well, that was that. Oh, I'm getting chills right now. I was talking about how I would be really surprised if hero beats Dark, but so far this game, this has been just some immaculate play from hero. Very, very solid, not relying on cheese, keeping pressure on.
Okay, that's not good. But frankly, I could forgive that, considering that he got that 4th base so nicely here. The question, though, is can this army get back home safely? There's enough storms that it's going to be a little bit tricky for the Hydras to have an engage here.
Oh, yeah, those storms are really nice. Look at this flank of Zealous, too. Even something very small like that makes a gigantic difference. He gets onto this high ground as well. Beautiful storms once again.
Yep, the Hydras continue to push forward here.
Is he going to
Yeah,
get
here we
trapped,
go.
though?
I was waiting for this recall to happen. I wonder if this should have happened sooner. What do you think?
I think he was actually waiting for the energy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't see a recall already, so it wasn't a cooldown. I think that was energy, because it seemed the way he was holding it with the Archon morphing, that he was like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Yeah.
He definitely wanted that.
Getting an escape pod ready.
Yeah. But you know what? I think that all these moves that he made and the fact that he got a 4th up, I'm getting a lot of chills already today, Tastes. This is already a fantastic group. Because, like, hero's playing an immaculate game. That being said, Dark is in no way dead yet, right? He's still got a very powerful unit composition. He's going to have that very critical +2 melee attack for those Banelings to really start wrecking probes. We know Dark's good at that. This is a scary comp, and here he goes towards that 4th.
Okay, there's really not very much to defend over here. A few good Psy Storms are going to get rid of some of these Banelings, but the probes have to be evacuated. And we see now the Archons, Immortals, and Stalkers pushing up, but are they going to be able to save the Nexus in time? Still a lot of shields over here. Oh my God, these storms are so good.
Yeah, they really are fantastic. Pretty good engagement for a while there from Dark. And gets a good amount of probes as well, but was that enough?
You know, it's worth pointing out that the Protoss is keeping all the important tech units alive for the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
When you see the Hydras go down, those are the important tech units for the Zerg.
Yeah.
That's
not the Banelings.
It's the big. That's the big investment. So when you see a lot of Psy Storms kill off all the Hydras, and the Protoss still has the Archons and Templars alive, for instance, Immortals not as important right now with these unit comps fighting, but the Immortals are handy too. Then Protoss is winning.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and if he can just kind of keep an eye on what Dark is doing, if you identify that they're really kind of stuck on Lingbane Hydra, you can just continually add in, you know, Psy Storms and Immortals and Archons, and you're going to be in a great place as Protoss. Look at this, going down into a bit of a concave on creep, didn't have his High Templar all there ready, so that part of the engage not going as well, but definitely keeping that pressure on while a Spire is being made by Dark.
Okay, Dark on 5 bases here. herO is looking for an opening to take out, I think, either the top or the bottom base. We have these Zealots coming in over here. It seems like Dark's ready, but the main army might be the real threat here.
Ooh, yeah, look at those Psy Storms. A beautiful little nook that he's going through as well. Very hard to get good surface area
I don't think he actually has enough of anything here.
No, I think you're...
This might have been a little bit too ambitious of a push, and you know how I was talking about this is going great because all these tech units are staying alive?
Yeah.
They're all gone now.
Yeah,
And it takes quite a while to rebuild this.
It seemed cool at first because he was hitting with Zealots elsewhere, and if these Zealots get decent damage done, takes out this 4th base once again, that's a quality victory there for herO, but overall I would agree with you that this overall was a mistake.
I think the initial attack was maybe not ordered correctly. You usually want the main army to come in and start the fight, and then the Zealots run in.
Oh, okay.
And do damage. In that case, the Zealots went in there first and got killed off.
Theoretically, I agree with you on this, but I think overall the amount of commitment of the main army is the biggest problem that we just saw there, because, again, if you see that your opponent is staying on Lingbane Hydra, it's incredibly hard to just walk across the map and kill that. That's almost a unit comp that you starve out. You want to hit them when they're going into Broodlords, right? Because they're always going to go into Broodlords from there, or almost always. We see here Dark's going Mutas. But that's going to be like a better window for you overall to try to kill them. Otherwise, just keep adding Psy Storms, Archons, and Immortals, and eventually the Lingbane Hydra is just going to be outclassed.
Now these Mutas coming out here are going to throw herO off quite a bit. There's no real anti-air defense here. I mean, the cannon is not going to cut it. You can simply avoid that. And this is another great way to just slow herO down. And actually now with herO out in the middle of the map, oh man! Ooh. Nice storms! It's about as good as you could ask for on those Mutas.
Well,
oh my god.
I tell you what, getting rid of all these storms and forcing Archons, this is as good as you can do. Like that's fantastic, because Psy Storm is the key to beating Lingbane Hydra. And
right.
Dark is not going beyond that right now. He's really focused on that unit comp, and this feels a lot like a StarCraft 1 ZVP, where you're literally going after Psy Storm so your Hydras can do better. And that's what we've seen Dark do here. I feel like herO right now, he needs to get back in a defensive stance, get his High Templar count back up, because that's how he's going to stay alive.
I think he might just get run over here. I mean, this is a lot of Hydras coming up. I don't know how many Templars are around now.
Well, even though he has a decent amount, a lot of them don't have Psy Storms right now. So that's what's making this like ridiculously hard. All right, a couple Mutas still left over there. Denies the 5th base of herO, kind of a interesting location. He was trying to take it.
Okay, Dark continued to grow. We're getting to the point where Dark is just getting closer and closer to herO expansion-wise on the map. His creep is looking a lot better this time around. Now, herO has caught up in supply. Dark was pretty impressively ahead, but I think some of herO's game plan now has been to stay back and try to just rebuild.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you have to do. You just need the right unit composition here. And, you know, Dark pulling back to his creep. He has so many bases. He's making Mutas. This is such an interesting game. I love how neither side is really getting that much additional tech.
Yeah, they seem to.
It's quite a mid-tier brawl.
Now, there's about to be about 15 or 16 Mutas out total here. And, you know, there's not a lot of Archons here. One less as we saw that one go down and die. But as these Mutas come in, he can really bait out a lot of these Psy Storms.
This is so cool, man.
Yeah.
I am loving this game, and just the fact that what we're seeing here, it really feels like a StarCraft 1 ZVP.
Yeah, so
right?
if you guys haven't been following ASL, there's been a trend right now of Zerg's massing up Hydras and then slingshotting the tech into a ton of Mutas. And you
just to pick off High Templar.
Right, and you're waiting for them to come out, and you basically suicide the Mutalisks onto the Templars.
Yeah.
And then there's no way that the Protoss can take a 3rd base or push, because there's too many Hydras, and if you just control them correctly, they're going to beat everything anyways.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the Banelings are an addition from StarCraft 2 as well. But, you know, he's keeping that Psy Storm count very, very far down. Still, though, herO trying to push forward. Obviously, a ton of money has been spent on Mutalisks, so that's extra Hydras he does not have right now. Oh, look at this. He's setting off all the shields on the Immortals right now.
Beautifully done with the Mutas.
Yeah.
And is this army just going to get swallowed up here? We have drones being pulled. A sign of desperation here for Dark.
Especially when they're hitting the Archon. That's the worst thing that you could possibly have them hit. But the Hydras are starting to peel through everything. herO has nothing else on the way right now. This army is definitely going to fall.
Yeah, the shields on the Archons is very low. The last Archon should go down, and it does not.
Oh, man.
Wow, I can't believe that.
Get out of there with those.
I thought I could lead that into play-by-play easily, but apparently not.
Oh, the Immortal Shield even gets re-triggered right there. And now with the Prism, he will get everything out. That was actually, I'm surprised he saved all those units. I thought he was going to lose most of that.
Okay, once again, rinse and repeat here for herO. He's got a lot of Zealots remaking an Archon. Storms are available now. And it looks like herO wants to push up into the top in this expansion up here. This means we're not going to have very much attention at the bottom of the map as this game goes on. Now, there's not a lot of banelings out, so the damage done with these Zealots is going to be huge.
That is gigantic. Those, I mean, Zealots wrecking everything with the lack of banelings. GG. What
Nicely
a game.
done.
What a game. Wow, kills. That was just magnificently played.
I'm really happy that herO won that game because after game one, I was really worried that herO was just going to bomb out.
Dude, and that was pretty much as I swear to God, I just keep getting nerd chills right now because that was standard quality macro play, and we've definitely seen that from herO in the past. It has felt for like the last 6-8 months like he's been a much more cheesy player, a lot of aggression coming out of him, but I mean, that was just standard awesome macro taking out Dark, who, by the way, it's not that it is completely uncommon to see people go mutas and try to hit Templars and stuff, but there was something about that that felt very StarCraft 1-esque from Dark, which is kind of cool as well. So just a fantabulous game there on year 0.
So a very bumpy game one for herO, but in game 2, he lands on his feet. And now we're going to go to King's Cove.
All right.
We got a lot more games to do today, but the winner of this will be in that winner's match. We only got 2 slots remaining in the round of 8.
That's right.
And this is a very tough group to call, so it's very important for both these guys they win this, even though they have a chance to redeem themselves in the loser's match. Game 3 is ready on King's Cove, Dark versus herO.
마운틴듀 GSL 시즌1 리제너레이션 게임이 시작됩니다. 킹스 커브 게임 준비 완료. 고스 크루 다크. 트라이언펀트 송 게이밍 히어로.
All right, no block there on the hatchery. Dark not having any of that.
Last game, herO showing us he can play a back and forth push style play. Not really what he's known for. A lot of times he has these super precise timings that come in there and cut them down.
Yeah.
And kind of navigate the game to win from there. So it's cool to see he handled himself, especially against a player like Dark. Dark's known for having really good, solid, all-around ZVP.
Yeah. Well, Dark is, I think, no one would really deny top 4 Zerg in the world, and has been since like 2015. Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. But you know, herO, we think of him as aggressive. I think a lot of his shinier plays, the ones that we think back to as kind of, you know, these epic moments of herO have been very mind gamey, very aggressive and stuff. But we shouldn't forget that he has been around for a very long time, and there's been several periods where he was one of the best macro PvZ players in the world. Like, I bring this up from time to time whenever the old school Swarm hosts come up, but this was the one guy fighting against Swarm hosts on equal footing back in Heart of the Swarm in a long macro game that was so long that they got nerfed into the ground. You know, it's but he is really strong. When he wants to show us macro games, they look great.
So this time around, we're finally going to have a Stargate opening. And see if we just go straight into Oracles from there. We have had some Phoenix play as well here.
Yeah.
Time to time.
Certainly.
And of course, the other thing we want to look at is what is Dark really going to try to do this time around? I mean, he's played 2 very different games here. And I will say, even though he lost in game 2, he was doing a very good job. There were a lot of back and forth moments in that game. So it wasn't like, I don't think if you look at game 2, you would say, well, he can't play like that in game 3. He seems to be very comfortable and very fluid in late game as well.
I definitely would agree with that. I think you pointed out rightly that maybe the creep start is a little bit slow, despite, you know, herO did some work getting rid of it. But yeah, I mean, I guess some of his upgrades are a little bit slow. He did take an engagement the 4th that was slightly off. right? He lost a lot there, and that's when you pointed out that herO wasn't really losing his tech units.
Yeah.
And you got to be worried about that. If you're going Link Bane Hydra and staying on it, man, you got to at least be picking off a lot of their tech units so that their composition gets worse against you each time. But yeah, overall, he played a very nice game, took a ton of bases, really managed everything well.
So this time around, herO opting to have the Oracle spot to have the Overlord killed first instead of setting that immediately across the map. That's not always what we see in this matchup, so that's kind of interesting to see his approach with that. I'm curious if there's some kind of fine-tuned math with that.
Well,
like it's worth it to not scout immediately and to wait until you have two.
You see this?
Whoa.
You see how ridiculous those two links are?
Yeah, they just spotted the other Stargate.
That was
okay, so that's why.
Amazing.
That's actually why he was doing that to begin with, is he wanted to make sure all the Overlords were out so he could hide a Stargate, but then it got spotted, and thus it gets canceled.
Yeah, that threw herO off a little bit. Obviously, you can't go to Stargate if your opponent has scouted it. It just becomes very trash. So,
really cool to see that Dark immediately knew to send two Lings in.
Yeah.
When he says, "Oh, you're trying to kill my Overlord first? That's not normal."
Yeah, normally you send the Oracle across and get 2 drone kills immediately, right?
Yeah.
That's the normal way to play. So you're quite right about that. That early Stalker is either made to help hide tech or to fake hiding tech.
Right.
Those are the two things the Stalker does well. But nicely done. So it seems like we're going to get into a pretty normal game. Of course, Dark does not know that that was canceled and all the new tech was built in the main base. Kind of hard to scout. Third base coming up immediately. Of course, the Oracle's flying back to help deal with these links.
Okay, and of course, Oracles are excellent on taking out Zerglings here. A few more Lings coming around, though. You don't have a ton of Oracles right away, so and the Lings can outrun them, so a lot of times you can try to just outmaneuver them.
Yeah, I like that he ran them around several times, because if you don't get those extra units at the third base, the Oracles start running out of energy eventually, right?
And you can eventually have them drained, and then you can try to hit that third base.
Yeah.
And that's one of those little cute tactical ways that you can actually basically win the game. If Protoss doesn't get a third base, especially with the Stargate build, at the right time, everything is sort of off-center.
So, right now, the Hydralisk Den coming down as well as Roach Speed. So just kind of getting all the things here to start. We don't see a big amount of Roaches made as of yet. I think he's trying to avoid that, and rightfully so. You don't want to make those Roaches unless you need them, and we don't see an Archon drop coming, so it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Only one Oracle now, but we had 6 drone kills.
Yeah.
A little bit later on when the drone kills happen. The earlier you see drone kills occur in a game, the bigger deal it is. That's not to diminish from the little success that we saw back there from herO.
Yeah.
And so Psystorm has started up now. Over on the Zerg side of the map, we have upgrades coming out along with both Hydras and Roaches.
Well, that gives you a little bit of a meat shield there in front of your Hydras, especially when you're playing against some early High Templars with Psystorm. If you see the High Templars just sit there, it's not because they have great attack. It's because you have Psystorm on the way. So, very cool stuff on both sides here. Immortals are starting to be produced, not in a huge number, but this is kind of a nice thing about King's Cove for Protoss, in my opinion, is that third base is just so simple to take and hold.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's you know, it's funny to see how some bases can be given to you for free, and then other ones you really have to fight uphill to get.
Very true. Well, there is this other thing that you can do for Zerg that we haven't talked about yet today, but is the buzz within StarCraft 2 right now. The Nidus Swarm is on the way.
That's true.
Let's see what herO does here to try to hold on against this. Definitely a very scary building at the moment.
Part of me kind of knew there would be at least one Nidus Swarm in a best of 3 with Dark here.
Yeah, yeah. Even before, but with the strength of the Nidus Swarm currently, totes.
So I'm assuming where this Overseer is where the Worm's going to be sent to. Now note the showing of the Roaches here. That'll force the army to move somewhere. Now, does this Pylon see the Overseer?
Yeah, he does, definitely does see it, but throws that down right on top of a cannon. I love it.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's no army there because you would not really think to put that on top of a cannon. But if he can get Queens out fast enough to transfuse that, My God!
Oh, that's hilarious.
was
He
way
actually
more-
did not target
Yeah.
fire the cannon, or only like 2 units would have gotten out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
immediately starts another Nidus in the main while hitting the third with the roaches as well.
Was there any chance that was intentional? Like he wanted a chunk of that army to come out to kill it over there?
I don't.
I don't know.
It could. You could be right. I don't think so as much, but you could be right.
Well, now we have Immortals covering both areas. Okay, now the next Nidus Storm is going to come out here. So he's going to just ditch this location.
You know what would be cool is if when they go in the Nidus Army, they heal. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, Artosis. That would just be awesome, Artosis.
That would be awesome. It seems like somewhere they should be able to heal more quickly, but okay. Anyways, comes up here with a ridiculous amount of roaches, just smashing a recall here on the other Immortal. Of course, Nidus is just popping up absolutely everywhere at all moments.
Okay, I actually think that we're about to see him get dismantled.
Yeah.
I think when we saw the recall, that might have been the moment where, like, tempo-wise, he's starting to lose control of the game.
Yes.
Because now, like, for instance, the Robo's going to go down. I think this base over here, the second base, the natural, excuse me, can go down. He's just using these guerrilla tactics to move it in and out of different locations and continue to slow down. It really goes to show you how slow Immortals actually are. You see them barely getting to where they need to be in time.
Yeah, it's very true, especially on a map like this. You know what? I think that I know that there's a lot of talk and a lot of complaint about the Nidus Swarm currently, but I think that this was not necessarily Dark's original plan. I feel like when he saw that it was like a rush to Psystorm and not as Immortal heavy, this became a really good idea, because if you have most of your money put into getting Psystorm out, that doesn't really help so much against roaches popping out everywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
that's very true. Roaches are a lot beefier, and they're not afraid of Psystorm the same way that, like, Hydras are, for instance.
That's support for a battle, whereas if you have more Immortals and less Psystorm, you're like, you didn't go Psystorm yet, but you have 2 Robos or something, the Immortals can fight by themselves. The Psystorms need a lot, so.
All right.
Yeah, that was cool, though. Very well done by Dark, and he does take down the series 2-1. Quite a nice series, though. I think they both showed a nice range of play there.
Yeah, each of those games are very different from each other. I was really pleased to see that attack there from Dark. I thought that was definitely the right decision. Once we saw the recall, I think it was from the main or the natural to his third base, I thought, okay, this is starting to really spiral out of control for Protoss. Protoss is scrambling to get control of this game, but the fact that Niduses are able to pop into the bottom of the main, the upper right of the natural, and the third base, so good. Coming up next, we've got a TVP Cure versus Deer.